Welcome to Stories from the Standing Room. Join us for tales of history, phantoms, folklore, ghost stories, mysterious happenings, and more. A playful and fun weekly podcast with a
British husband and his American wife.
Join us from inside our 450-year-old home in the English countryside.
For journeys into the past, the arcane, and the downright spooky.
It couldn't. Oh, there you go. It couldn't stop.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness gracious!
We didn't know if there was a bit of drama there or not.
God. Oh my goodness,
We're actually
husband.
here. Wife.
Oh,
Drama.
I know. Welcome everybody to Stories from the Standing Room.
Yes.
Woohoo! This is episode 4.
Yeah, I thought it was 3. It's 4.
I know. It's been a lot of fun though.
What happens when you get past like 5 and you can't count on your hands?
I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, 10's going to be even harder.
You know what though? We have maybe 5 viewers at the most.
Ever.
Forever. Yeah, actually. Now, what we're doing is we wanted to be able to grow this with you because this is not only just history. It's haunted rooms, history, folklore, and more. We're going to have facts and hilariousness. Yeah. Don't you think? Yeah? I don't even know if they're there. The thing
we're talking to ourselves. It's the same every week.
You know what, though? We had so many false starts.
Yeah, they've all gone home. Well, they haven't gone home. They're already home.
Premature.
Good luck.
Premature evacuation. There's no one there.
Sorry, we just talked to ourselves.
It's okay. Maybe if they could give us a little... Oh, I see a little face. There is a like. We have a viewer.
Somebody is there. Yeah.
We have a viewer.
And the cat is swinging off the wire, so...
Okay, so...
If we go weird, it's the cat. She's
no, we can't. We
do not touch that wire.
Really quick, let's talk to our podcast folks, because our podcast folks, we are feeding we are feeding into podcasts as well. iTunes, SoundCloud, and other things. So we actually have a big intro. Oh, they like that. That's nice. We have a big intro that we play, which is basically, it's folklore, history, ghost stories, and then some.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So we're also, our website, storiesfromthestandingroom.com, is in pre-production.
Very much. So.
Yes, it is.
Getting there.
If you were to go to it right now, it's like cartoon-like. Yeah. So don't go to it yet.
Yeah, but we'll tell you when it's ready.
Yeah, and as far as the lighting, how's the lighting look? Can you guys see us okay? Are you okay? How about our mics? Do our mic check? Let's see. Are they there?
I think we're okay.
I think you were by yourself.
I think we could just talk to ourselves and carry on until somebody joins us.
No one's here yet. Oh, wait, no, it says there's 7 of them. I think I can see. I think there's 7 of it. They're just quiet.
I can't even.
They're quiet. They might be scared.
We're already.
Yes. We have lots we want to talk about. Oh, there they are. They're here for crying out loud.
There we go. We just talk to ourselves.
Okay. All right. So we're on every Saturday. Of course, we do it 2:30 live, but it is starting California time, 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern, and 10:30 our time. So we do have some local UK viewers as well.
Yeah, we do. We have Obi probably.
Obi is here. Yes, from TQ9, the big musical group. We're very excited about that. We're going to have Obi will be on camera with us someday soon. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm looking over there, baby.
Why?
Well, I'm listening to what you're saying. You're confusing our podcast people.
I know, that's true. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about is, should I show them some of this stuff? We have 1,300-year-old artifacts that are here, just like being in a museum. We actually have pieces, because we're going to talk about, one, the Vikings and the phantoms of the Dark Ages. Now, I must confess this, husband, that when I studied history, if you want to say that I studied back when I was going to school. I know.
It's debatable.
Busy screwing around, yeah. Is that we did not cover a lot of the Roman, a little bit, but we didn't really cover when the Dark Ages began, what took place in the Dark Ages. It was kind of just obscure place over there that just dark stuff went on.
Most people, it's really quite confusing because there's things like, if you look at post-Dark Ages, it's like the period you understand, and the costumes, but in the Dark Ages, it's a bit more of a blob.
Yes.
Between like 500 and 1,000 or maybe 1,100, it's this like amorphous, chaotic blob, and that's almost kind of what it was about in a way.
Well,
it was that inability to pin things down. I mean, that's one of the things
of
the Dark Ages that people really, it's hard to get your head around quite a long period of time. Well,
it started when the Romans left.
Yeah, well, the Roman Empire splits into two. You've got the Eastern Roman Empire and the Western Roman Empire. Byzantium continues like the what we would see as the Roman way of life from Constantinople.
Right.
So Greece, through Egypt, Turkey, that part of the Eastern Mediterranean kind of continues in a kind of semi-civilized or civilized way.
Right.
And then, but Western Europe falls into chaos. And
Because there's no one here to keep order.
well, it's not just that. It's just that with Rome, you have ready access to education, doctors, sanitation, food supplies, irrigation, and also imports.
Legal system.
A legal system. And you were able, it was a single economic market that goes right the way across from Egypt and Judea all the way across to Britain. So this whole unit just collapses into chaos.
Right.
And I remember I was working at the Museum of London, which is a little story which will tell you where this comes from later.
Yes.
And I asked an archaeologist, and I said, well, is it just like a misnomer? Is it not true when we call it the Dark Ages? And he said, no. He said, when I'm digging up Roman pottery or medieval, I can see all kinds of hope, and I can see decoration, and I can see a richness. But when I dig up the ceramics and objects from the Dark Ages, apart from the rich jewelry, it really is like it's like lacking that spark.
Yes, and the vitality.
And the vitality, right? People are really kind of very tribal. It's like gangland, really. What's happening is it's like
that's true, because
it's like gangsters have taken over 500 years. So the order goes, and you just like gangsters take over.
So it'd be like the Totnes hoodlums against the Peyton warlords.
Yeah, something like
that.
But it is that thing where the old thing goes. So 500 years, from 500 to 1,000, basically.
So it'd be kind of like there'd be no sheriff in town for Bakersfield and Fresno. They'd be fighting each other.
It'd just be whichever gang's on top.
Well, that's
but
still
also
happening.
The schools are closed, the electric goes, the gas goes, the sanitation goes, the hospitals closed. There's no medicine, and you can't. People don't know how to retile a roof, how to build a house. They're literally they go back to using the most basic wooden structures. It's just like the buildings start collapsing because people didn't have the skills, because there were no longer any, like, the equivalent of plumbers or roofers to come in to fix
They all went back to Rome.
Yeah, even Rome had collapsed. Because it survives in Constantinople.
Some stayed here. Some people stayed here.
Yeah, I mean, people do stay, but it's just a hand-to-mouth existence then.
So the Dark Ages really began.
It's weird, but it's very pagan, it's very dark, it's very guttural, it's very...
Druid. It's very Druid.
Well, the Druids weren't there. That was due to pre-Roman.
Okay.
But it's it's pagan, it's early Christian, it's this battle. It's dark, interesting... Oof.
Okay, I'm just checking your mic. A dark, interesting oof that began around the year 400 and goes through about 900.
In England, I think you can say 1066 of the coming of the Normans.
1066.
In France, you could say to like 1,000, but basically it's that period, 500 to 1,000.
Yeah. So over here in real estate documents, the year 1066 is actually a unit of measure.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because our house
documentation.
Yeah, because our house was built 500 years after that. Ha! Yeah. So it is.
But the stones they used were actually from
that time
30 years after then.
Isn't that the stones that our house is built with? That they were actually at an abbey that was built 30 years after 1066.
Yeah.
That is amazing. All right. So
anyway, but we need to get back on track.
Yes, we do. Stuff. We digress. Okay, we're talking about what were the Dark Ages, the Vikings, and the phantoms of the Dark Ages. So what I wanted to start off with is our local beach that Alex likes to go to. There's water slides. It's really a nice little ease, and it's like a big bay.
It's like in a bay. It's sandy, and the sea comes in very gradually, so it's nice and warm and flat and easy to land your longships.
Ah, I see. So it was more like a little area for the...
I mean, because it's great now for toddlers to go paddling.
That's true.
And kids to go playing. That also meant the longships, the Viking way of life is very much expressed in the longship. They were amazing. They were like the spaceships of their time.
Yeah.
That they could go anywhere.
They were stealth.
They were amazing.
They were the only ones that could go across the big hall between here and over there.
Yeah, Greenland.
Yeah. They were doing that in the year 700 in their little
I think it was
dragon ships.
900. They first occupied Iceland in 900. Then they moved across. The Norwegians, as now, moved in Iceland, and then they started. They didn't have permanent settlements in North America, but they certainly moved down the coast.
Which is a really big deal in the centuries of the 8th century and the 9th century and the 10th century. That's a long ass way.
But anyway, these amazing ships,
yes,
were very much their heartbeat.
Yes, they were, and they were the ones that had the dragons. When you think of a big dragon,
these ships are really well built. But they could literally just, with a flat sandy beach, they could just drive them straight onto the beach.
And they were quiet when they came into the Vikings. What we know the Vikings for is, well, the fighting. What's the what?
Kurt.
What?
Douglas. You know that movie, The Vikings.
Oh, yes. Kirk Douglas. Yes, you're talking about him this morning. No. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see that one. I did see Spartacus, though. And did you know?
We're not going on Spartacus.
Oh, okay, that's true. That's a different show.
Yeah, there is that Great and the Bell too. That's Tony Curtis.
Okay, we can do a movie.
Vikings.
We can do a movie one of these.
Yeah,
but tonight we're talking about Vikings. But because they were known for their war, their ships, and they were known. What else were they known for?
Well, no, we know them all for
plundering and stealing.
But that's what they did. If you were weak, they would steal.
Yep.
If you were strong, they would trade until you were weak enough, and then they would steal.
Well, they plundered and raped and pillaged. And you had a good point about the raping. You mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean the idea of the whole idea of rape and pillage. All armies did that at the time. What the Vikings did is they would rape their male victims as a thing of control over them.
I am in charge.
Yeah, I'm in charge. So that's what they did.
Not that there's nothing funny about that.
It's just it wasn't like a sexual. It was just like as rape is an act of control and violence.
Absolutely, it's totally violence. So they were known for plundering and taking the
horns.
And the horns.
They never had horns.
They did not wear those, did they?
No, but sometimes you find that
What are these? Why do we have these then, the Vikings?
Because when the Christian scribes, particularly the English Christian scribes, were drawing them, they represented them as looking devilish.
That is brilliant.
So they drew horns, and so that came represented, particularly in the Victorian period, so like the 1850s, 1860s, 70s, when people started to have archaeological finds, they started to then portray the Vikings having horns.
Gotcha, just like they did with Satan, and just like they did with, because it was the god of, what was his name?
Hern Hunter.
Who's the male god.
Is a male god, but they'd inherited, this happened before the Vikings, they represented the devil as having horns. It doesn't
like the cloven hooves.
Yeah,
hooves,
it's because
horns,
that comes from Pan.
Yeah, bad guys.
So the older gods are represented as
Did
being
you just say Poundland?
No, I said Pan.
Oh, okay, Pan. Yes, the god.
That's where the cloven hoof comes from.
Yes, that's true.
So what you've got is that you have no horns.
So they were portrayed as horns. You know why? Because they didn't write down their history. It's the monks who wrote down their history. Yeah, because the monks could read and write, but the Vikings couldn't read and write. So guess who told the stories about the Vikings? They couldn't.
They had runic script.
Yes, but the people who were doing the writing and communicating were the monks who studied and knew how to learn and to read and write. So therefore, they were extremely valuable slaves.
Yeah, well,
monks.
I mean,
they were the internet of back then.
Yeah, the thing with Viking society is one of the most most societies across the world then used slaves. It was common, but the Vikings were slave-centered. They were just lazy. Everything was done by slaves. More from anyone slaves, more from anyone else. They were very slave-driven.
Well, they were slave drivers and they were slave driven, yes?
Yeah, they would drive. That's what I mean. The economy of the society was very slave based.
Well, they were also brilliant at, if you could be brilliant at this, the depth of how far they sold their slaves. They sold their slaves all over.
Oh yeah,
there, not just to other Vikings. For the entire. If they came, you knew you were going with them. And it wasn't going to be.
They had an internet, their highway system almost, where they would take from the Baltic. They could use the Russian rivers all the way down to the Black Sea and Constantinople. They had complete control and free flow through the Mediterranean. So they then had the western coast of Europe, and then later they were able to go over through Iceland and Greenland that way. So they have an incredible network to move their things around.
So what you said though about the rivers is kind of like an internet. Because if you're going to come inland and you got these stealth ships that are really,
their ships
they literally could do this. Thing. They really could.
Yeah,
and they came up the Dart. They did.
Yeah, they did.
And they went all the way up to Exeter, didn't they?
Yeah, in the mist, and then they burnt it down. There was a famous raid. Exeter is about 25 miles away from
It's
here.
about as far away Bakersfield as your Exeter.
Goodrington, we mentioned, also in 1978, they found a Viking arm bracelet. They thought the Vikings had landed there, and they had evidence because they were digging on the beach, someone was digging and found a gold arm bracelet.
Where Alex goes to the water slides?
Yeah, that's where they landed.
That is the coolest thing.
They wanted ice cream, yeah.
That is so cool. So wait.
Yeah, in 1978, they found a gold arm bracelet, which is Viking.
Was it with a metal detector?
Yeah, I think it was, because that's when metal detectors was first kind of coming out in a popular way.
That's interesting.
So they were expecting like coins and found a Viking.
That would be really cool. Where did that go? To the museum?
Oh, I don't know what it went.
Oh, man.
Probably.
Okay, so these Vikings would come in off of the shore. They come around through the rivers, and they go up, and they want to get cash.
Yeah.
And they want to get people. Yeah. So they'd go...
So here they went to the River Exe, which is about 20 miles away, to Exeter, which is 25 miles away.
What are we talking about, the mist? What
yeah,
happens
and
in the
they
mist?
came through the mist, and there are descriptions of they didn't know they were coming because they were almost silent, and that they came up the River Exe, the Viking fleet, through the mist. And it's about 2 miles wide, so they came up with the tide, and as they appeared through the mist, and the dragon ships came through the mist.
That would be really...
And then they just destroyed the city and killed everyone in it.
Frightening to see that coming through
It'll be like ISIS coming just down the road.
Actually,
quietly.
it's exactly like ISIS coming down the road.
It's that kind of fear that you can't control these people because they're not working in the normal...
Nope.
I mean, even then, it was more bloody from the usual Dark Age
They
framework.
wanted your stuff. They wanted your people. They wanted you to be a slave.
Yeah.
And we have some pieces
And
from that
we
time period.
do. We have some Viking stuff.
Before I was going to tell that, I was going to say, how do you keep Vikings from coming? Do you know what the ultimate Viking repellent was? How do you keep?
I do.
Yes, you might.
I
yes,
do,
but do they?
Do they?
Okay, how would you, if you had these Viking ships, we're going to show them these items real quick for the people on the podcast. We will put pictures of these up at storiesfromthestandingroom.com and at facebook.com/storiesfromthestandingroom so you can see these items as well.
Yeah, but they are. This one's particularly interesting. This is a Viking talisman.
I'll show them that in a second.
Oh, I see. I thought you were just going to...
I'm going to talk about Viking repellent.
Oh, yeah, okay. You talk about Viking repellent.
Seriously, how can you out-Viking a Viking? What would you do if you knew that they were going to take all your stuff, they're going to break into your church and steal all of your gold.
And kill everyone.
And kill everybody and take everybody to slaves? How do you get them to not do that?
How do you frighten them off?
Yeah. How do you frighten somebody who's totally, totally scary as they are?
You try not to scare them.
I think it's time for a story.
I think it is.
All right. This is what they would do. This is really a horrid human fascination. And this is what would happen to a Dane if they were caught.
And this is what fascinated me as a child.
Yes, you actually got to see this. Don't tell him yet. Don't tell him yet. You keep him busy for a second, and I'm going to tell this story.
I'm sitting here
okay, hopefully my mic's working. Here we go. Since time beyond memory. Are you reading over my shoulder?
No, I'm just vaguely looking in that direction.
Since time beyond memory, children and tourists have been shown the doors of old English churches and told the story of the Viking who was caught pillaging in the church. He was flayed alive. That means to skin.
Yeah.
His skin was stripped from him while he was still alive. And then it was nailed to the door of the church. Okay? Because it was to lay there underneath the ironwork. Actually, not just one guy. It happened to anybody that they caught. They would skin you alive, nail your skin to the church door to keep the other guys. They'd come up and go, I don't want that to happen to me.
Yep.
So I'm going to go on to the next one. Yeah? So this was something that they used as a piece of local history that tends to stay in the mind because you're there to see the church, but no one can forget about the skins that were nailed to the door.
Yeah, so people continue to... I don't know if it's still there, but I remember as a child being taken to show their local Viking skins on the doors and gruesomely looking
What did it look like?
Well, it looked like a bit of old rubber or something. It was just, I seem to remember, I wasn't that old when I saw it last, but it's just like about that much left, and it's just like bit
about
of
4 or 5
stuff.
inches, huh?
A bit of tar or something.
It looked like tar?
Yeah, it didn't look like skin because it was like...
It's been 900 years.
Longer than 900.
I know what I looked at, 49.
It was about 800 because it's things. So it'd been on the door since that period.
So it wasn't just that church. What church was that you went to?
That was Worcester Cathedral.
Worcester Cathedral. So it happened in all the churches. That was the big way to repel Vikings. Is to
not every door has skin on. There's only most of those churches that haven't existed for
centuries. Bet they did it.
Or they were rebuilt.
I bet they did it.
They were rebuilt. Yeah, but they were rebuilt later. So it's not like there's only a few. I think.
Where did the skins go? Do we know?
rot, break up.
Okay, I guess. But they were actually.
But also,
some of them,
in future years, it would just be gruesome and it would just be removed.
it is extremely.
Only in a few places do they
Humans
remain.
like that. Humans like that kind of stuff. That kind of story, that kind of gore gets people interested. It's true.
Yeah, I remember as a child being really interested in going, "Ew, look,
So maybe we should
skin."
show them our piece of human flesh.
Yes, show them
No.
those two.
All right, are
photos.
you going to tell the stories while I show them this?
Yeah, no, well, you
All right,
can
here we
show
go.
them those as two pieces of Viking, and
This
then I'll
is-
tell a story.
Okay,
Oh,
now
I've
wait,
got a
real
story
quick. Let's
with
tell
this
them.
one.
Tell them really quick about. Real quick, podcasters. You can see this online on our website. Now, last week I didn't know where the middle was. So this piece, hopefully you can see. You want to tell them what that is? It's you, that
Yeah,
is.
it's a stylized face. You can
Yeah.
see you see the nose and the eye. And the interesting thing, you can see it's been rubbed as a talisman, and the gold, which is on the outside, has
This
been
real
rubbed
gold?
off. So yeah, and someone has actually rubbed it away. So the gold coating over it has been rubbed away for over a lifetime. Someone's
that's
worn that,
interesting.
particularly like when stressed or going into battle.
So, what
they
year?
would. I think that's probably around. It's 800, 900.
Where'd you get it? Oh, they like it. They
yeah.
like it. Oh, they love it.
Just a dealer. I mean, I'd like bigger pieces, but I can't afford because they just go for a lot of money. But I just wanted a piece of
That's
Viking jewelry.
interesting. This is really interesting. Okay, we
It's
will.
probably it's like a warrior's amulet.
So, do you think this went to battle?
Yeah, it's probably a
Let's
god.
look at
It's
it
probably like Woden or.
Oh, Odin.
Thor.
We're going to talk about. Yeah, it could be Thor. It could be Thor. We're going to talk about those guys.
Yeah, let's talk later. about
Okay, this piece right here
that.
is also.
It's just undecorated. It's up here, right?
It's about 1,300 years old, and this was a.
That was just a brooch.
This is just a
but
just
you know, I
a
mean-
1,300-year-old brooch.
Yeah, but what I'm meaning is it's not
They
talismanic.
like it.
The other one is a representation of a Norse god. That one is just decorative.
I want to make sure that this is getting the view because last time I was like this on the side, but I want to be able to make sure they can see this. So that's gold plated. They like it,
Yeah.
honey. Look at their little
Yeah.
faces.
So there we
Oh.
go.
Okay, so this is 1,300 years old.
Yeah, and then
Where'd you
there's-
get that?
I have no idea. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. This is an interesting piece. Let's see if they can guess what it is. I can't
Yeah.
read their comments because we actually are on full screen. Oh, their little faces. Do you
It's
see their
part
faces?
of something. I think it's fair to say it's part of something.
It's a Vikings.
And you're probably all sending your little messages.
They
But
are sending messages. We can't
unfortunately,
read it.
We can't read it because we just got the phone.
Oh, we
over
have
there
this.
as a
We do
record.
have the emoticons. We can see their faces if they're sad, happy,
Yeah,
or
but we
mad.
can't see. So apologies for those of you sending messages.
This is originally straight. This is now curved
It
from
was
time.
when I first had it, it was straight and probably about a third bigger from it is now. It's shrunk.
Okay, can you tell me real quick the age of this piece?
That
of wood?
actually is quite pronounced because we know that's from around 850. Because what that is part of a Viking ship, which was reused.
They like it.
I worked on an archaeological dig.
Yes.
For the Museum of London as a
Okay.
volunteer for the Archaeological Finds Department.
Yep.
And this is just being thrown away because they.
Why would they
look-
throw something like that
well,
away?
they've got millions of pieces in the ground, so they just can't store it. And I just said, "Oh, can I have that?" And they said, "Yes."
They let you have it?
Yeah, because
For
I should have
free?
had more. There was a bag of it, and I just took one piece, and well, anyway.
Okay.
So,
Well, it's interesting.
But what happened is the Alfred the Great, the King of England, or the King of Wessex.
Yes.
He defeated the Danes in around 850 and destroyed their army and destroyed their boats at the estuary of the River Thames and bought a lot of the boats up and rebuilt the foreshore of London to make more space in London.
Can you do me a favor and explain what a foreshore is? Because
It's the edge of the river. So
Okay.
the river was very wide at that point, and what Alfred did, he used the wood from the ships. He drove piles into the mud and used the wood and backfilled it with soil to make the river smaller.
Right.
Because London was expanding and he needed to make more space
So-
and rebuild it.
you know how much fun I thought it was when we went to Plymouth and it was the Plymouth foreshore?
Yeah.
Because it's like Plymouth for sure.
And then it was the hoe.
How the hoe foreshore?
Yeah.
What is a hoe foreshore?
Well,
Well,
the hoe
really,
is just the name, but we're getting off
no,
the
no,
point.
no, really quick. I want to tell them they love that.
Yeah,
picture.
okay.
A hoe is a.
It's the name in Plymouth of the front. I think it's got
The beach?
I don't know the base of the name.
Oh, okay.
But
it is the foreshore
it's- yeah.
of the hoe.
Yeah, the hoe is
so
just
it's
the
hoe
area
fo show.
of the front. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this is quite. There's another
Yes.
interesting story
Yes.
associated to this, and the archaeological dig which I was helping. I was working with skeletal finds at the time.
Yep.
And we unearthed a very unusual symbolic burial. Well, actually, it wasn't a burial. That was a strange thing. We found the archaeological dig was very strange in itself because it was actually the rivers moved forward and forward and forward over the centuries.
Yes.
So we entered it. It was like a movie set. We entered it. They'd broken through the wall of a 1960s office block, which they'd broken through, and they were in the middle of this.
We're back. Okay.
So through this parking lot,
Yeah.
through the wall, the concrete wall, you would climb through, and there were arc lights that was being lit, and then they were digging up the ground, and in the middle was the skeleton.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about the skeleton is they still don't know why this happened. It hadn't been buried. The skeleton had been put in a bark coffin, and it had been tethered to a pole in the River Thames.
Was it?
So it was some kind of symbolic reason.
Was he killed that way?
No, we had. Oh, it was tepanned too.
What's
there
that?
was a hole in the head.
What's tepanned?
Tepanning is to literally to make a hole in the head. I mean, the theory that if you can relieve pressure from the brain by making a hole in the head is a medical theory.
Is this what you did before death or after death?
Before.
What? That's what killed him.
Well, not necessarily. You can actually, and there are anyway. We won't get into tepanning, but tepanning, the skull had a hole in it. Now, we don't know if that had killed him or not. Actually, that might not have killed him, but there could have been like a madness or something.
Right.
And they were trying to let out an evil spirit.
Oh.
There could be all kinds of things. But anyway, so I'm as I got this, I'm working on this very strange, from the same period, this strange skeletal find.
Yeah. This was the one that was floating. Or
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I helped, before the analysis, I helped clean it up. And it was just really quite strange because I was working in this like underground place on my own under arc lights, just getting the mud off the skeleton.
But was it packed it in mud? So did he?
Yeah, I got a kind of relationship. I can't even.
You had a relationship with the skeleton?
Yeah, I built the kind of thing. I remember when I finished, I went and bought some flowers and just laid them around the head.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But that was when they'd done the test because that was part of the soil. But after they'd done the test, I put some flowers by the head.
That's very sweet, husband.
But it was. I think. Sure, it's a woman. I think it was a woman. But anyway, so related to this.
Yes.
This comes from the archaeological dig where we have the strange skeletal find.
Well, that you had a relationship with.
Yeah. Well, I think I did because I was talking away. Nobody talked to the remains of that person for 1,000 years.
Who gets to do that?
Talking.
Nobody gets to do that.
It was a strange thing, really.
That's really interesting. Does this make you feel nostalgic?
No.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, speaking of skeletons, did you know that Vikings had their own zombies?
Were they scared of Jason and the Argonauts?
I don't know. That's a good point.
Probably not.
That would be.
That
was scary for us when we were kids.
Generation,
yes.
Jason the Argonauts.
Our generation. There are people that are watching right now, that are listening right now, that can understand the horror of that. Because if you were a kid in the 60s and 70s, Jason and the Argonauts kicked your ass. It was scary.
Scary. Yeah. Put our skeletons for life.
It did. No, seriously, skeletons were very scary. So the Vikings did have their own zombies. They actually had. They are called. Drauga. They are called the Drauga. Okay? There's not really a G. It's a Draug. All right? And if a Draug came to you, it is literally, the definition is an again walker. And even that creeps me out.
Yeah.
Just an again walker. The Vikings, this is 1,000 years ago, they had a name for the Walking Dead. And it was called Drauga. And the job of the Draugs, they are actually old Vikings. And they're an undead creature that is supposed to protect the graves, because in the graves there's booty, there's gold, and
often you find that in Beowulf as the dragon that protects the
gold.
So often in North and Anglo-Saxon legends there is the spirit. I think it was very practical. It was rather like the Egyptian idea of having a cursed. It was an extra protection if you put in. If you frighten people, they will probably be less likely to go in and
raid your grave.
Raid the grave. So you had to frighten them enough so they wouldn't go. And
so if you tell them that there's the undead, the Draugs, that are waiting there, listen to this. They are superhuman power. Okay, they can increase their size at will, and they smell of the unmistakable stench of decaying flesh. And that's what's waiting for you. So don't go dig up that grave because that's what's waiting for you.
No grave robbing
These
tonight.
are the undead
No
Vikings
resurrecting.
that they say were the Walking Dead, the again walkers. There's something really creepy about that statement, the again walkers.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It's like
It's disturbing.
the again walkers.
It just makes me.
It's a
That's
bit
one of
more
the
spooky
scariest
from
things I've.
Walking Dead, really. The again walkers.
It's seriously. I'm telling you the truth. This is the scariest thing I've heard on our show so far.
You know, it's kind of related in the plague. There was in 1666, 1665, there was the Great Plague, which had hit Europe. Okay?
Yes.
And
Several times.
There were reports around London, which was like incredibly hit with the plague, like more than 50%, I think, of the population dies or flees the city.
Yes.
And there was a thing called the Hollow Men. And the Hollow Men was said to be the vapours and the badness which rose from the plague pits.
That's
and
interesting.
All the bad smells became physical energy and manifested into these spirits, these Hollow Men that didn't have a soul. They just walked the streets as bearers of plague.
Would they be dark like shadow men of
Yeah, they
today?
were like shadows. They were like they were called Hollow Men.
You just gave me goosebumps.
So they weren't physical, but they were like the shape of people made of all the badness and all the
suffering,
rots and
the suffering and the
from the
sadness.
plague
That
pits.
makes sense.
And they were called the Hollow Men, so that's kind of similar.
That's
And that was in
interesting.
1666.
You've never told me that story. Why do you save all your big
It just cropped.
your
into
big
my-
guns for
it
on
just-
camera?
It just cropped. It just came in my head. I haven't thought about it forever.
That's
The Hollow
really
Men.
well. That is interesting. So perhaps they could be related. But the again walkers and the hollow men. It's almost time for our Tales of the Arcane, which is our ghost story of the show.
Oh yeah.
It's almost time.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you that the Vikings did have their own werewolves as well. They had werewolves, and they had the zombies, and they had. You were going to talk about real quick before I do go to my ghost story. Real quick, the Drogs. Let's see, along with the Vargur, like vagabond Vargur, were the bloodthirsty demonic wolves. And yes, and also I wanted to make sure that we covered this because you mentioned the god Odin, who is supposedly not only he was part of the underworld. He was also associated with, like he had his own little Adam and Eve. You know, he supposedly created the first male and female.
Yeah, the creator god. Yeah.
But Valhalla, which is the after, it's not necessarily hell. Valhalla is also, it's an afterworld for the Valkyries, the ride of the Valkyries. The Valkyries,
the warrior class.
they're the women, these women spirits, these women entities that chose who was going to live and die on the battlefield, and they take them off to Valhalla. So the ride of the Valkyries, sometimes when they came in on horseback or they came in on serpent or something. So Odin, we still talk about him. As a matter of fact, how do you know how we talk about him? Do you know that we still speak Norse?
Well, we do.
Kind of.
Well, we certainly talk about Freya.
Yeah,
Thor.
Freya is his wife. That's Odin's wife.
Yeah, Freya.
She, wait, really quick. She had the other half of the underworld, and her underworld is called Folkvanger. Like Volkswagen.
That's a bit of a tongue trigger, isn't it?
It's Folkvanger, like the wolves, the Folkvanger. It's Folkvanger.
Yeah,
So there's Valhalla and Folkvanger, and there's Odin, or Woden, or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday is Wednesday, and Freya is
Friday,
and there's
Thor.
one. Thor is
Thor's Day.
Thursday. So so Thor.
So it's the thing about to speak the gods' names is to remember them.
Yes.
So all the
I
time
always
we're
think of-
saying the words Thor, Freya.
Do you think of
Woden.
Thor on Thursday? I do.
I just tomorrow's Friday.
Today is
today's Saturday.
Today's Saturday. We're named after Saturn, the god Saturn, which is there's lots we could go. I didn't put them because they're not Norse.
We digress.
The Roman.
but
We have
but
digressed.
We digress. But
But
it's
there's also
interesting how we use words in our
wait.
language
There
so
is
that we
another
like
one.
them.
There's another Norse god in the days, and do you know what it is?
In the days.
Yeah, so you've only got a couple more left. You know Saturn Day. And Monday is the moon goddess. But there's Tuesday, Tyr, T-Y-R. His name was Tyr, and he's the Norse god, T-Y-R, Thursday.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
it's
that,
Tuesday.
so-
So we have, Woden, Wednesday. When everybody gets upset about that, if it's Wednesday, why is there that D in there? That's because it's Woden's Day.
Yeah.
And so that makes more sense. It's the Norse god Odin.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have digressed all the way away from our Tales from the Arcane. We would like to ask.
Time for the tales.
It is time for our ghost stories. For our podcast folk, we do a little bit of history, do a little bit of facts, we have a little bit of fun. We also do a little bit of ghost stories, and we want your ghost stories. Some of you are sending us in some stuff. We really appreciate that. Some of you are asking questions. We appreciate that as well. You can find us at facebook.com/Ann Kelly for now until we grow. And then we are, of course, at facebook.com/stories from the standing room. There's little likes. Thank you so much coming across the screen. And our stories from the standing room web addresses will be ready, hopefully in the next couple weeks.
It's worth checking it out because you can see the pictures. And we also now have Pinterest. I've been putting pictures into Pinterest over the last week.
That was the best stuff. You are an amazing. And we're going to have also
the artwork, because much of what we're talking about is represented in the artwork I'm doing.
Yes, it's captured.
Photos, that's a bit pretentious,
No,
isn't it?
no. Well, you're able to. No, it's not pretentious. It's true. You are very good at what you do.
Okay.
Why is that light? With that light over there, you've been looking over there so dramatically. What is over there?
Wiki. I'm looking at the cat.
I see. Okay. Well, no, we are going to have also they like that. They like the fact about your artwork. They love it. There's hearts.
Yeah. So if you go onto Pinterest.
Yeah, we are Stories from the Standing Room on Pinterest.
Stories from the Standing Room. You can see the images.
Yeah, and the images, though, we are going to give you a chance to win some artwork. We're going to give you a chance to win some antiquities. Yeah. We're also going to give your ghost stories, by the way. When you submit your ghost stories, the ones that are chosen for our show, we are going to publish. This is our plan as part of our value added thing. We're going to put them in a book that will be published
annually,
and therefore available.
This year it will probably be 18 months before the first one. But we will publish it, and then your story will be in the book, and then you'll be able to buy it by Amazon.
I'd like to thank the good folks over at the Yogi Publication Society. Oh, that's me. Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually just me.
Oh, okay.
It's the name of the publishing thing. Why are you looking away?
Well, I don't know where else to look.
At me.
Oh,
or
sorry.
at them, I guess. I
know. I didn't want to be rude and stare at them.
Oh, okay. So you didn't want
to get my eyeballs in the right place.
Okay. You don't have to. You don't have to look.
people.
You can look wherever you want. That's fine. I was just wondering what you're looking at.
I'm watching a moth, actually. A moth flying around the room.
Look, our viewers are now down to single digits. Look at that.
Oh, I've broken.
All right. No, that's all right. It's time for our Tales of the Arcane. If you have Tales of the Arcane, please send them in because here comes our ghost story for tonight. Are you ready, husband?
Yes.
All right. Are you ready? I don't know if they're ready yet. No faces yet. Here we go.
No one there.
This one is called The Voice at the Top of the Stairs.
Ooh.
Are you scared?
Yes.
Okay. All right, listen. So, when I was, and thank you for this submission, by the way. So, when I was a kid, I would race to the top of the stairs as fast as I could, like it was some sort of silly game. Well, I must have been 5 or 6 at the time. I'm not sure. I know I was very little. Somewhere along the way, a voice at the top of the stairs started to whisper to me. It would make bets with me. Bets with him, husband. Yeah. It would say, I bet you a penny you can't make it to the top of the stairs. And I don't really think there was a certain amount of time or anything, but as he said, he was very little when he wrote this, when this took place. He recalls sitting at the top of the stairs having conversations with this voice about the betting. Eventually, the voice became a whisper, a man's voice, not of the voice in his own head, but of a man's voice. And the voice would say, instead of pennies, it would say, I bet you your life that you can't make it to the top of the stairs. As he got older, it stopped. Never really thought about it later, never really mentioned it to anyone, till one night he was sleeping over at his brother's, things, and out of nowhere he brought up the voice at the top of the stairs. And the brother all of a sudden got quiet and weird and said, oh my God, did he make bets with you?
Spooky.
Now wait, it's not over yet.
Oh, that.
Horrified. The house was built in the 1970s, so it doesn't have history.
That's more scary, isn't it? In a way, because you think, what is it? Where does it come from?
Yes.
And if it's inside my head, how's it outside my brother's head?
It is noted here that there was a lot of suffering and a lot of drama going on in the family. There was a lot of, there's a lot of fighting, a lot of darkness. The mother in this particular story was very religious and said there happened to be evil in the house. She suspected evil in the house, and it could have been the energy. Who knows what brought that in? Anyway. That is our story for tonight. Please send in your tales from the arcane. We will read them on upcoming episodes. If we choose them for the episode, we will put them in the book. And then the thing would be evil in the house. Could evil in the house actually bring in something? If there's negative energy, yes. I say yes. They like that story. That's nice.
Yeah, I think theoretically, negative or evil thought could have intelligence. So yeah.
Yes, it's true. Because if they were going through divorce and fighting and lots of drama, that is a very powerful place to be. If you're in negative energy, negative thoughts, negative emotions.
It becomes like a beacon because I suppose it becomes a magnet for
Yes,
negative.
It does.
Whatever they are.
It's which is the thought forces, if you will.
Yeah.
Because thought is a living force, from what I understand.
The elementals, but that's stuff for another show.
We are going to talk about that in another
show. I think really, we're really getting onto the concept of the elementals, these forces which can communicate and are different to like that traditional demonic thing, but the elemental forces or the elementals.
They feed off the emotions, and we were talking about this before, fairies and pixies. The earth spirits. We can do a whole show on that if you like.
Yep.
Real quick, let's answer one of our viewers' questions.
Yep.
We do have a viewer. We have several viewers.
Have we got a question?
Really quick, we also have a YouTube channel. We'd like to ask you to subscribe, please. We literally have 39 views.
Yeah, so YouTube will be cool.
That'd be great, yeah, because we are trying to grow this show. We really like to do this.
We've got a question now. I'm thinking, what's the question?
The question is, husband, you were asked, do you believe that Robin Hood was a true story or not?
I believe in Errol Flynn. Yeah, I think Robin Hood is a number of stories from a number of different periods, like King Arthur, but all woven together.
So it's a legend, a myth.
Yeah, it's
story.
a myth. It's not one person. Robin Hood isn't one person. Robin Hood is several stories from different parts of Great Britain, all mixed together and all coming together around.
Where did they get tights? Where? Did they get elastic stuff?
Oh, yeah.
What do you do? What do you get?
Errol Flynn, he liked to show
do you
his
have,
bits off. You know what Errol Flynn was like?
Is showing off his naughty bits.
Yeah. You know,
How do you know about Errol Flynn's naughty
that's
bits?
what Errol Flynn's famous for. So
He is. Errol Flynn is famous for showing those naughty bits to younger ladies.
Exactly.
He loved the younger ladies.
Was the flasher. So that's what I'm thinking. It's
Yes.
Errol Flynn, men in tights.
So, I mean, did Robin Hood really wear tights? Did they?
No.
Did
The people didn't wear tights. No one wore tights at that
Somebody
period.
wore tights. They had to have those somewhere. You're the fashion guy from the older time period. That's your thing.
They really tights developed.
Stockings.
Yeah, stockings, tights, whatever, developed in Italy about 200, 300 years later.
Right.
And that everything was lung to the floor.
Okay, so what was that made out of? Was it just like fine fabric and it was pulled up?
Well, later, hundreds of years later, when it was developed in Italy around 1410. Yeah,
Okay.
but at that point, no one wore tights apart from Errol Flynn.
I got it now, because the stories were told about this guy during
a
that time
Hollywood
period. They put
thing.
the tights on him, so he really wasn't wearing tights.
It was a Hollywood design thing.
Robin Hood did not wear tights. I didn't realize we were going to go this deep. He probably didn't.
He would just be like some old beggar wearing whatever rags he was.
Because he was robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. No, wait.
That's a bit I kind of doubt.
I was just going to say,
wishful thinking,
I almost said robbing from the poor and giving to the rich.
That's
more
more
like it.
That's more like it, yeah.
So what we were thinking about is, once again, let us recap. We would love to have your tales from the arcane. Please send them to me now. Please send them to me now so we can choose them for a future episode. Send them to us, but I think the best thing would be either hit me up on Facebook, send me a private message, or go to facebook.com/stories from the standing room. If you would like to tell your ghost story yourself, please use the MP3 option on your phone. You can save that as an MP3 or into your pencil mic at your computer.
We can put that onto our website.
Yeah, no, we're going to use them we're going to play them on the air.
I know,
think.
but how are we going to do it? You're going to do it like that?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I figured all this other stuff out. I think these mics are still working. We're going to be, also, our website is coming up. So again, that is storiesfromthestandingroom.com. Your tales from the arcane, anything weird. It could be a UFO. It could be
anything interesting and
shadow people.
kind of unexplainable.
What'd you call them? Hollow men?
The hollow men.
The again walkers. That's creepy. That is really disturbing.
Yeah,
The
that's a good
again
name,
walkers.
actually.
It's
It's a good
gross.
name.
It's kind of. We have ghost stories here, though. We were going to actually next week's show. We still haven't told them about the guild hall. We haven't.
Oh yeah, that's
down the line.
let's keep on track to the.
Okay, what we're going to do for next week's show, because we did have some of you ask this, is that we were going to do because we were talking last week. Is it live or is it Memorex? Meaning that when these ghostly appearances happen, some people see the same person crossing the road, same person in a window. Is that a repetition of an energy? Is it an individual consciousness?
Is it literally recorded and somehow played back?
It could very well be The stone tapes.
There is, but there's another theory also that sits alongside that, and that is repetition of circumstance and repetition of action. So you have certain sites where certain things will happen over hundreds and thousands of years. Now you do need a long time for this to happen. So you need a city to be at least occupied for at least like 800 to 900 years, because you need to see it happening over a long period.
Yep.
But certainly in there are quite a few aspects where there's evidence that the same things and it will keep cropping up
at
over
the same
period.
place.
Yeah, rather like the Bank of England, the centre of the kind of monetary system in Britain. Underneath that, there are the medieval. They found that it was used for other reasons, for other purposes for many years. But there was also, but then it was a medieval money lending centre,
right? And
then it stopped being that, and it went back then to the Bank of England. But underneath that was the Roman god of money, and I can't remember which one that is.
Ah, crap! I can't remember either. Maybe I can Google it.
Yeah. So, but underneath, they said underneath the centre, they discovered that underneath the centre of the Bank of England, right underneath, is the altar to the Roman god of money. So what it's psychogeography for if you want to be precise, but where you have events occurring throughout history, and sometimes you can have several hundred years, maybe 500 years, where it doesn't, but it will spring back up. It's like a spring growing from the ground. It will just or a seed, it keeps coming back to life. The same thing occurs in the same spot.
Yes. So we're going to be looking at that. Why would that be? That's more than a coincidence. There's really no coincidences. What about the karma of Jerusalem? All kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's just one of those things.
Well, this would be something we're going to be investigating. Why are you making the face?
Because I'm thinking. It's a thinking face.
Okay. Good. It's a good face.
It's kind of a thinking face.
Okay. All right. What we're going to do is next week we will be back live here in the Standing Room for Stories from the Standing Room, episode 5.
Yeah.
And we will be talking about, like you said, psychogeography, psychometry. Well, it's things, items, do physical items or physical places hold the haunting, I guess you would say.
And there's kind of objects too. I mean, I was thinking of like Sutton Hoo.
Oh, we never talked about that. I think we're coming to a close, though. Okay. You want to do a real quick?
I'll do a really quick thing.
Okay.
I mean, about the energy of places and when things occur. Now, in 1937, so just before the Second World War, there was a woman called Edith Pretty who lived in Suffolk in East England, and she had this quite large house and land, and there were mounds around her house, and she knew that some of them were very old mounds, but she was known to be very psychic, and she kept starting to see these warriors, these kind of Dark Age warriors, standing on top of this one mound. And then she saw a man on horseback on this mound. And she kind of got this energy from them that they should dig. And this is just before the Second World War, so it's the greatest moment of threat to England in probably 1,000 years.
That's true. And you guys did hold off for...
Yeah,
go ahead.
But so... what happens is that she basically pays herself for an archaeologist to go in 1937. They begin to find things. They dig thoroughly in 1938, and she covers the cost of this. And they actually find a ship burial, because the Vikings used to bury their dead inside ships. And so what they found was that the remains of a Dark Age Anglo-Saxon king, and the greatest collection of buried treasure ever found in Europe.
That's pretty impressive. It is the Sutton Hoo find.
The Great Hoem, which is the Great Helmet. Yes. What had happened is that the body had rotted too, because they put the ship in the ground, they built a timber framework and made a hall for the person to lie in, and they put earth on top. But as the water went through, it became acidic, the soil was acidic, and it created an acid bath and melted the body away, so there was no body.
We will put up a picture of that helmet.
Yeah, and that's the helmet which we put on to advertise this show.
Well,
but anyway, so they find this, and it just happened to be just before the Second World War. So there was a theory that it was like the potentially like one of the first kings of England. The energy of that king is arising at this moment of incredible need,
when they need to fight Hitler.
It's that need of like a nation to fight, to get backbone, and to actually understand its own history, to give it that extra oomph to stand up against the might. And it was the whole thing. In 1940, the French army had been destroyed and France had surrendered. very easily. And then Britain had been defeated, and many of its troops.
Oh, we're back.
Oh yeah, but so we'd lost the tanks. We hadn't got anything. We just got lost of injured soldiers. And so what happened? And the German Navy were massing on the French coast. They had like 40 Panzer divisions, 2,000 planes. They had this massive army. They hadn't invaded Russia. It was all coming in one direction. It was 22 miles away from France. They had it, and it said that the weather was great for them to land, and it said that when this is well documented, every white witch in England,
every Wiccan
at that period went to the White Cliffs of Dover, and they all turned their wands upon to the French coast. And it said, and the scientists, and the weather changed within 2 or 3 hours, and that the Germans couldn't advance.
Thank God!
But it was one of the things is one, they know that happens. They know that there were hundreds of witches on the cliffs, all turning with their wands.
That's pretty cool.
And they know that the weather changed and the Germans could not. They brought bedknobs and broomsticks.
Yes.
Bedknobs and broomsticks. The Germans could not invade because the weather was so bad for several weeks. And then it was off, and then everything went towards Russia, and the US were in. And
the US were done with Japan, and they could come over and help. Now, wait, the big thing would be if Germany did invade, they could have been like our Vikings, and we would be slaves right now.
Yeah, something of that line. But the point is...
It's true!
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's that moment of the national need. It was needed. It was like the treasure. But when they dug the treasure up, they had to put it into boxes because it was a blitz. So as soon as it was found, it was only cleaned properly after the war.
The blitz, for Americans who haven't studied history, was when the Germans just bombed the ever-loving crap out of Britain. And so it was actually in a cave, so it was safe. It is an amazing hoard, though. It is a huge...
Curly-whirly section, as we call it.
Yeah, we call it curly-whirly because it's so amazing.
Because it's very intricate. The jewellery is incredibly beautiful because it's the whole interlocking dragons, and you've got these dragons and serpent interlocking, and they fall into one another. So
they happen to come out in the greatest time of need for Britain.
Yeah.
And they're now at the British Museum, aren't they? Yeah. Are they British Museum or V&A?
Yeah, the British Museum.
Yep, we got a chance to see them. If you don't have it, it's not WHO, as in WHO, it's Sutton, HOO, if you'd like to Google them. We were going to put up a picture for you. So I think we've run long. I'm afraid we have gone long.
I've gone on.
That's all right. I need to have one of those little flashlights.
No, I know, but
I think they love you. They love you.
I still want to tell stories.
Honey, it's okay. No. I know, and that's true. But we're going to be back next week, and you've obviously got a lot of hearts and faces, so they're happy. And hopefully, we will see you here next Saturday for more stories from the standing room.
And our apologies for not being able to read. We know that you're going to be typing things.
Yes, we won't be able to respond until afterwards because we can't see anything but ourselves.
So our apologies on that one. But we will look later.
Oh, there they are, hearts. Thank you so much. Good luck with the Again Walkers.
Yeah.
Can I hear your evil laugh because you gave me crap for mine? Oh, that's good.
No, that's Scooby-Doo. I got confused again with Scooby-Doo one. Yeah.
Next week, do places have memory?
Yeah, pesky kids.
What? Oh, the Stone Tapes.
Yeah.
No, next week, the Stone Tapes.
Yeah, and pesky kids.
You're going to go, with all those meddling kids?
Yeah, meddling kids.
Oh, my God. Okay. Kids. All right, bye, everybody. We love you.
Okay, bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. We can never say goodbye.
We will carry on talking to you. There we go.
No. Hang on. Okay.
We are having technical problems.
Oh, my God.
Can see our
what is the matter with us? Why won't this turn off?
We will keep on talking.
Oh, they love us. We love you,
we
too.
Love you
too. Okay, we're going to have
to...
Okay, say goodbye. We love you.